Renault Sport Formula One team continues to make strides this year. On the back of accelerated development from its parent company in 2016. The French squad has already scored 6 points from the first 4 races, equal to 3/4 of its total points haul last season, with 16 rounds remaining on the 20-stop calendar. And while there's a long way to go, Renault Sport Racing's managing director Cyril Abiteboul was happy with the last race in Sochi in Russia, where Nico Hülkenberg qualified and finished 8th. Another step forward for the team, not only confirming that we are regular top 10 qualifiers, but also that our race pace has improved relative to our qualifying performance too, he said. It's a far cry from last year, when Renault returned to the F1 grid as a works effort for the first time since 2010, but understandably struggled. A late repurchase of the Lotus team in December 2015 meant very little time to prepare for the season, making do with a modified 1-year-old car and much to do in reintegrating its race team in Enstone, England, and power unit headquarters in Viry-Châtillon near Paris in France. It also reset its driver lineup, Danish racer Kevin Magnussen joining its former reserve driver Jolyon Palmer. The team started 2016 outside the points in Melbourne, with Palmer 11th and Magnussen 12th. The Danes scored 6 points, with 7th in Russia, before another in Singapore, while Palmer took his first in Malaysia. But that wouldn't be enough for year 2, with the squad shopping around the paddock for a charismatic lead driver, around which it could continue its rapid rebuild. Magnussen saw the writing on the wall and left for Haas and the stability of a multi-year contract. And while Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas were both courted for the role, the perennially underrated Nico Hülkenberg was the one to finally accept for his first manufacturer drive.
I will bring, my motivation, my passion, my hunger for success, and I think it's a good combination.
Team boss Frederic Vasseur also left, amid rumors his hands were tied on recruitment and a fractious relationship with Abiteboul. Now on a more stable platform, with Abiteboul and Renault Sport Racing president Jerome Stoll sharing responsibility, Renault is building towards its goal of being a top team by 2020. To get there, strategic investment needs to continue, but so does the flow of development in closing the gap to the top teams.
Developing a program that allows us to get as much out of it as possible has been the real challenge. How do we fit into the time we got all the things that we want to do?
Renault also needs 2 drivers scoring points at every round if it's to do what Force India does and punch above its weight. Hülkenberg has impressed so far, the German showing his natural speed in qualifying and clearly relishing his part in the progress. But Jolyon Palmer continues to struggle, crashing in practice in Australia before retiring with brake issues in the race. He took a pair of 13th places in China and Bahrain before crashing out in Russia after Haas's Romain Grosjean tagged him at turn 2. Rumors continue that Palmer will be replaced for 2018, with former Renault driver and double world champion Fernando Alonso mentioned. But there's still time for Palmer to deliver on his pre-season expectations.
I'm sure I can do a much better job last year, obviously, being my first year. So coming back, learning from that, I hope I can get the most out of myself and see what I can do compared to Nico.
Renault is no stranger to success, with 2 world titles in 2005 and 2006, and a further 10 crowns as an engine supplier. And while it's just getting started on its return, if the rapid progress continues, it could be every bit as impressive as its last works effort.